The Tool by W.F. Harvey. I liked the long south corridor with its light-coloured walls and low windows looking onto the garden. I do my writing there, for it is very quiet, especially when Jellyby is off colour and is obliged to keep to his room. He calls himself a social democrat and is eloquent on the rights of man, a wonderfully fluent speaker, with facts and figures at his fingertips to drive home every argument. But one tires of that sort of thing very easily. Of the two, I would rather listen to Charlie Lovell recite his endless pedigree as he sits dribbling over his knitting. I cannot help smiling to myself when I think of yesterday's sermon. Canon Eldred was the preacher, and was obviously ill at ease, as indeed I should have been in similar circumstances. He has a red, cheerful face, with comfortable folds of flesh about the chin. A typical healthy-minded Philistine, whom it did one good to see. However, he was there to speak to us. He took as his theme, the duty of cheerfulness. The subject was excellent, and what he said was to the point, but I could not help wondering whether he had the slightest idea of the condition of those whom he addressed. Evidently he realized our need, but there was a tendency to regard us less as men than as children. He spoke incautiously of the man in the street, and in so doing showed the falsity of his position. We have no use for arguments calculated to satisfy the ordinary man, since we are extraordinary men in an extraordinary position. No, the man in the street was, to say the least of it, a most unhappy phrase. I should like to tell Canon Eldred my own story. He told us that next week he was going away to enjoy a well-earned holiday. 2 years ago, I was taking my summer holiday too. Autumn holiday it was, in fact, for our vicar. I was senior curate at the time in a big working-class parish in the north of England, had gone off to the sea with his children in July, and Legg, my junior, had claimed August for the Tyrol. I had made no definite plans for myself that year. Something I felt sure would turn up, and if all my friends were booked elsewhere, I knew that I could depend on 10 days at my uncle's place in Devonshire, or a fortnight of fresh air and plain living on Bob's disreputable old ketch. But somehow everything fell through. My uncle, who was beginning to be troubled about death duties, had let the shooting for the first time in 50...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?